Hey guys, welcome back to Chasing Giants TV. I'm here in my office getting ready to head out for the afternoon hunt and was just checking out Weather Underground. That's the weather website that I use the most to track weather, especially the forecast. It just gives you so much information, not only temperatures and precipitation, things like that, but also the barometer, wind direction, and just about everything that you could want in regards to weather. So I was checking out Weather Underground, and what I see for the coming week, I believe this is going to be the best week in October that I've ever seen as far as the weather goes. The temperatures have dropped. We got about 3 inches of rain. Started yesterday about noon, stopped this morning. So I'm going to say it rained for about 20 hours, off and on, sometimes heavy, sometimes real light. But we got 3 inches total in about 20 hours there, which we needed every bit of it. But that weather front has really cooled things off as well. And as I look at the 10-day forecast on Weather Underground, there's not a single day that the temperature is going to be above 70 degrees. And, it has been in the 80s. So definitely like about a 20-degree drop in temperature. But I see the barometer rising all week as well. It's going to peak about Friday. So this coming week, I don't recall ever seeing a week in October that looked this good. Now, I've seen plenty of cold fronts in October. I've seen snow in October more than once, actually. But to see a full week, and actually it's longer than that. It's showing 10 days on the 10-day forecast. No temperature above 70 degrees. Barometer continues to rise. And then after Friday, it just slowly tapers off. But there's going to be a lot of good deer killed this coming week. And so I wanted to throw this video out there just to give everyone a heads up. This coming week actually could be better than the rut, depending on the weather in November. So if we get hot weather in November, I think we'll see better activity this coming week than we will then. And, I typically break October down into 3 periods of about 10 days each. The first 10 days, the middle 10 days, and you got the last. And yeah, there's 31 days in October, but that last 10-day period is when I start getting excited about the cold fronts. And this one is going to hit, right here about the 20th and continue on for several days. I'm going to start hunting mornings this week, and earlier than I typically would, and earlier than really I have in decades. But the weather is just setting up perfect for it. And I wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. You definitely need to get out there if you can this week. Now, I don't expect deer to be running around in midday like they will in November, but that first hour or so of daylight in the morning, and then the last hour in the evening is going to see a lot more activity than what we would typically expect this time of year. So I think the bucks will be coming out of their beds a little bit earlier in the evenings. I'm going to be trying to sit between the bedding area and the food sources. I'm going to try to be sitting on scrapes if at all possible, because when those bucks come out of their beds, they're not going to run right out to the bedding area. A lot of times they just slowly meander out towards that bedding area, and if you can find a scrape between there, that's a great place to set up for an evening hunt. So that's going to be my tactic. In the mornings, I'm going to be sitting there on the edge of bedding cover, trying to catch those bucks coming back just a little bit later, maybe running those downwind edges of the bedding cover. I'm not going to go crazy and burn out stands at this point. I'm not going to hunt a stand more than probably once all week, but I'm definitely going to jump around and be out there a lot. So if you guys got time off work and are able, this is a great week to be out there. Again, it's probably the best long-term, several day period that I've ever seen in October. And I think this is about my 48th, 49th year of deer hunting. So this doesn't happen very often. And coming off of that really hot period that we just had, this could be fantastic. And, over the last 3 days or so, I've checked a bunch of cameras, dozens of cameras on multiple properties. And what I've observed when I've been out in the field is a lot of scrape activity has really picked up in like the last week or so, probably even less than a week, 4 or 5 days. I've just started noticing a whole lot more scrapes and rubs. than I have, the days previous to that. The other thing is I want to give you guys an update on Turning Point, my target buck for this year. And to be honest, I was a little bit worried. I hadn't seen or gotten a picture of him in about a month, from about the time he shed velvet. And I had past history with the buck, so I know where he had been in the past, but just wasn't getting his picture and wasn't seeing him from a stand. Not that I hunted him, but only a time or two. But I moved some cameras about, I guess it would have been Monday. And so 6 days ago, I moved some cameras in the area where he'd been in the past this time of the year, hoping to get his picture. And I just checked some of those, and I do have his picture. So got his picture coming into bed one morning about 5:30 in the morning. So I got a pretty good idea where that buck is bedding at. I caught him right on a property line going to a neighboring property where I don't have permission currently to hunt, but I do on the property right next to it. So, I'm going to visit a landowner this week, see if I can get permission on that neighboring property. I've never tried in the past, really. It just wasn't much there, but apparently there's enough for this buck to be going over there and bedding down for the day. So see what happens there. Looking a lot more promising than it did just a couple days ago, because I wasn't sure if the deer died to EHD or if he'd moved on and relocated to a different area and totally changed his pattern to what he did in the past. But that doesn't appear to be the case at all. It may be that he's just got on to where I put my cameras or something, and moving those cameras, shifting them a little bit. I caught his picture. So definitely things are looking up there just a little bit, but he's still going to be a tough buck to kill. He's a real world buck in every sense of the word. He's on a permission property, and there's some hunting pressure there. Actually seen some folks out putting up stands on the neighboring property, not the one where I seen him going to bed, but another property yesterday. Truck was pulling into the property, had some tree stands in the back of the truck, so I'm sure they were going to put those ladder stands up, and I don't know if they're getting ready to bow hunt or getting ready for gun season or whatever. But anyway, looking forward to getting out and getting after Turning Point. The bad thing for this week is the wind directions are just not real good for the stands that I have where he's at this point. I do have another property where he shows up a time or two during the rut, where I got some other stand options. So, the chase is on. He's not going to be easy, but I'll give it my best shot and see what happens. But, anyway, guys, get out there if you possibly can this week. The weather is in your favor, and if it warms up in November, this could be better than November. We'll see, but I can just about promise you there's going to be some really nice bucks killed this week. Good luck, everybody.